Shocking footage from Rick Harrison's home horrifies the entire nation. Newly leaked FBI surveillance footage exposes Rick Harrison's necrophile obsession. What they found will leave you speechless. It was supposed to be another storage auction. What they found was a nightmare. When a Las Vegas storage unit was auctioned off in the quiet of a weekday morning, no one expected that the event would spiral into a nationwide frenzy. The unit had been left unpaid for months, sitting quietly behind a rusted metal door at the edge of a dusty lot. It was only when a local collector bid on the space, hoping to score a few antiques, maybe something with a bit of Pawn Stars flair, that the horrifying truth began to unravel. Instead of vintage clocks or Civil War artifacts, the buyer found a collection of wooden crates. Some were faintly marked with RH. Others bore the unmistakable branding of the gold and silver pawn shop. The crates smelled foul. A deep, metallic stench of rot, and something wrong. When the first crate was cracked open, what spilled out wasn't gold, wasn't silver, it was death. And not just any death. This was orchestrated. Preserved. Displayed. Inside, authorities would later confirm, were the decomposing remains of human bodies. Each wrapped meticulously in vintage fabric, accompanied by personal effects, wigs, designer jewelry, even what appeared to be blood-stained clothing eerily matching descriptions from several cold cases. Labels attached to the crates read names like Marilyn, Jackie, and River, in a childlike scrawl. The collector called the police. The police called the FBI. And the FBI launched a manhunt that would bring them directly to the front door of one of America's most recognizable TV personalities, Rick Harrison. The Pawn Star with a hidden chamber of horrors. For more than a decade, Rick Harrison was America's go-to guy for dusty treasures and bizarre collectibles. He seemed like your favorite uncle, a little rough around the edges, obsessed with historical trivia, but trustworthy. That's what made the revelation so earth-shattering. This wasn't just some recluse caught with morbid memorabilia. This was Rick Harrison, Las Vegas's favorite businessman, the face of family-friendly TV, now the alleged architect of something nightmarish. The FBI's raid on Harrison's private residence was swift, decisive, and heavily classified, at least initially. What since leaked to the public has ignited a firestorm of horror and disbelief. Agents reportedly uncovered a hidden room accessed through a sliding bookshelf. The room was cold, refrigerated in fact. Inside were rows of glass compartments, each containing body parts preserved in formaldehyde. Taxidermied hands. Feet. Even a complete torso adorned with a pearl necklace and a cocktail dress straight out of 1950s Hollywood. Photo albums labeled acquisitions, favorites, and posed were scattered across a blood-red velvet table. Each photo chronicled the decomposition of a corpse, alongside captions describing their source, condition, and value. One source close to the investigation described it as a catalog of death. And in the center of it all, footage. Hours of surveillance footage captured within Rick's home. Some of it showed him meticulously applying makeup to lifeless faces. In one clip, he reportedly plays Frank Sinatra while brushing the hair of a corpse that appears to match a long-missing socialite. Necrophile nightmare or elaborate setup. The nation is split. As footage went viral, thanks to a whistleblower within the FBI who uploaded a snippet to a dark web forum, America was sent reeling. Some still can't believe it. Others point to long-ignored oddities in Harrison's past. The grim fascination with historical death, the frequent purchases of medical collectibles, and his occasional discomfort on camera when asked about his private life. But is Rick Harrison truly a necrophile serial collector? Or could he be the victim of a sinister setup? That question has split fans, skeptics, and law enforcement alike. One former employee of the gold and silver pawn shop, speaking under condition of anonymity, claims Harrison had a vault at the shop that nobody was allowed in. Another former cast member, now living abroad, cryptically tweeted, "He warned us to never ask what was in his storage." Still, some fans point out how public his life was. It doesn't add up, one supporter wrote on Reddit. He was constantly being filmed. How would he hide something this big for so long? The FBI, meanwhile, remains tight-lipped. But one source confirmed at least 2 bodies found in the crates matched DNA of missing persons from as far back as 2001. One of those, reportedly, was a washed-up soap opera star who vanished during a Vegas convention. Her body, they say, was found intact, her face frozen mid-smile. Why didn't we see this coming? The warning signs were always there. It's easy to look back now and spot the red flags. Rick's often offhand jokes about death. His fascination with embalmed relics. That infamous episode where he refused to buy a pristine doll because it wasn't lifelike enough. In hindsight, it seems obvious. But that's how these stories always go. Serial killer Ted Bundy was a law student. Jeffrey Dahmer offered neighbor sandwiches. And now Rick Harrison, the man who once haggled over pirate coins on TV, is accused of curating a human trophy room. Experts in criminal psychology are now poring over every episode of Pawn Stars, looking for subtle behavioral cues. They're focusing on moments when Rick handles war memorabilia, skeletons, or anything death-related. Was he just intrigued by history, or was he dropping breadcrumbs all along? One moment, in particular, has gone viral, a 2012 clip where Rick jokingly tells a customer, "I've got enough dead things at home." Laughter followed. But now it sends chills. What happens now? Is this the end of reality TV's golden boy? With Rick Harrison in federal custody and his legal team refusing to comment, the big question is, what happens next? Federal investigators are expanding their probe. Sources say more storage units tied to Rick have been found, some as far as Arizona and New Mexico. Each is being carefully opened, documented, and analyzed. Meanwhile, the Pawn Stars production has halted indefinitely. The History Channel has scrubbed all episodes from their site. Sponsors are fleeing, and Las Vegas locals are revisiting old rumors with fresh horror. Even more troubling, reports suggest international buyers may have been involved. Could Rick have been part of a global black market for preserved celebrity corpses? That's the direction investigators seem to be heading. If true, it would mean this story goes far beyond one man's dark obsession. It becomes a tale of profit, power, and perversion at a level no one imagined. What can we learn from all this? A cautionary tale for the internet age. In the age of social media, we're quick to trust faces we see often. Familiarity feels like safety. We invite these people into our homes every week through our screens. We defend them online. We celebrate their birthdays and believe we know them. But as this shocking case proves, visibility is not the same as transparency. Rick Harrison wasn't hiding in the shadows. He was center stage, smiling, selling, shaking hands. And behind all that, if these allegations hold up, he was doing something few could stomach, let alone imagine. It's a reminder that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like someone we laughed with last week. Sometimes they wear suits and talk about coins. The story isn't over, and you can be part of what comes next. As the investigation unfolds, one thing is clear. We're witnessing history. Not the kind Rick used to collect, but a living, breathing scandal that will redefine how we see celebrity, crime, and what people are capable of behind closed doors. Chumlee breaks down the fallout from inside the Pawn Empire. While Rick Harrison's world crumbled under the weight of horror and disbelief, his longtime co-star and friend, Austin Chumlee Russell, reportedly broke down in tears upon hearing the allegations. Sources say he was inconsolable when agents arrived at his home for questioning, shaking visibly and repeating the words, "He couldn't have done this, not Rick." Chumlee's own past hasn't been without scandal. His 2016 arrest involving drugs and firearms already caused ripples in the tight-knit Pawn Stars community. But this was different. This wasn't about bad decisions. This was about something inhuman. Something sick. In an emotional video that quickly went viral, Chumlee appeared outside the gold and silver pawn shop, pacing nervously, hands shaking, telling gathered reporters, "I spent half my life next to that man. He gave me my shot. He was like a brother to me. If what they're saying is true, I don't even know who he is anymore." His words struck a chord. For fans, Chumlee's visible pain made it all feel real, tangible. It wasn't just headlines anymore. It was heartbreak. For viewers who grew up watching the duo barter baseball cards and broken guitars, the idea that their friendship had been built on a lie added another tragic layer to the already unthinkable case. But it also raised a dark question. Did Chumlee know anything? Authorities have yet to name him as a suspect or person of interest, but the pressure on him is mounting. A growing segment of the public wants to know, how could someone work so closely with Rick for years and not see the signs? Is it possible Chumlee, like the rest of us, was fooled? Or is it even more chilling? Was he looking the other way? Social media explodes. The internet's morbid obsession and reckless theories. It didn't take long for the story to set social media ablaze. Twitter threads, Reddit deep dives, TikTok conspiracy timelines. Rick Harrison's case became the latest viral obsession. Hashtags like #PawnStarPsycho, #RickHorrorson, and #PawnShopSecrets trended within hours of the leak. Some users shared old clips, pausing and zooming to highlight what they now believe were veiled admissions, Rick referencing bodies or hidden gems with a wink. Others speculated that entire episodes had been scripted to cover for his dark activities. A few users claimed they had inside information, saying Rick had frequently visited obscure mortuaries or private estate sales involving the recently deceased. One TikTok creator claimed to have matched a taxidermied face shown in leaked footage to a missing 90s child actress, a claim not yet verified but enough to spark thousands of horrified comments. While many of these theories remain unfounded, the viral engagement shows just how desperately the public is trying to process something so incomprehensible. The line between crime and entertainment has never felt thinner. And the more people dig, the deeper it seems to go. Pawn Stars Revisited. Hidden meanings in every episode? A new genre of YouTube content has exploded. Rewatch breakdowns of Pawn Stars episodes, with eerie commentary and alleged coded clues sprinkled throughout. Creators point to Rick's uncanny ability to appraise objects linked to historical tragedies, coffins, death masks, funeral attire, and claim he was obsessed with items touched by death. Some go even further, suggesting his pawn shop was used as a front, not just for money laundering, but for trafficking human remains. A theory that would have sounded absurd weeks ago now feels disturbingly plausible to thousands.